Swimming like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.
Welcome back to another episode of the Shrimp Tank. We come to you virtually from Seattle and the entire Pacific Northwest. Listen, if you want to learn how to start, grow, or run a successful business, this right here is the podcast for you. You're in the right place. This is where we say street smarts and book smarts collide. Hello again, everyone. I'm Dan Whedon, and I'm joined by my co-host, Craig Swanson. Our guest today is Dominick DiBartolomeo. I've been working on that, Dom, the whole time. Dominick DiBartolomeo is a titan in the culinary world of Los Angeles and the owner of the cheese store of Beverly Hills, a landmark that's synonymous with premium, exotic cheeses and exquisite Italian foods. Born and raised in New York, Dom brings a larger-than-life personality and a deep-rooted passion for Italian cuisine. I'm getting hungry already, by the way. A love cultivated through generations of family recipes. But Dom's journey to becoming a cheese connoisseur and a vital link between top LA chefs and the finest Italian ingredients wasn't always a bed of roses. From his humble beginnings working PR and as a weekend butcher to traveling by bus to his first food industry job, Dom's story is one of grit, perseverance, and an undying love for great food. As we dive into today's episode, prepare for an Epicurean adventure that stretches from the streets of LA to the hills of Italy. With big plans for the future and a lifetime of culinary wisdom, Dom is here to share his world of flavors. So buckle up. Dom, welcome. We'll be with you in just a couple of seconds, actually. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts, everyone. We're on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and YouTube. You could say we're ubiquitous. And now, open for business, our patron membership, the Shrimp Peelers, offering exclusive content to grow your business and enrich your life. You'll find access on our website at shrimptankpodcast.com/Seattle. Now, before we bring on Dom, Craig, welcome back. After it's been a month, it's been a Labor Day holiday weekend. Lots been going on. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Good to see you, Dan. This is, of course, the beautiful time in Seattle. This is when everyone comes to Seattle and says, wow, I got to live here. This is the most beautiful place in the world.
Well, you know, there's a funny thing before I dive into what we're going to talk about today. Our Rotary Club has an exchange student from Mexico, and I was driving her to school today. I kind of act as a counselor for her, and it was, I don't know, 59, 60 degrees, and I was wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and she was freezing. So I guess it's all up to taste. And speaking of taste, we are in an interesting period right here, Craig. Last week, and I know you know Odette Daniello, Michelle and I interviewed Odette about her incredible cakes, her bakery, all of her new podcast called Celebrity Gourmet Podcast. All these cool things she's doing. And now today we're bringing Italy, LA, the big food scene to the Shrimp Tank podcast. And I guess we haven't had anybody cooking or grilling shrimp yet, but it's just making me hungry. I'm wondering, kind of on a two-part question. Did you have anything fun, especially to eat this Labor Day weekend? And do you have a favorite Italian food or cheese?
Well, I don't know about the favorite Italian food. I'll have to think about that. But I had a friend that just introduced me to Slim's Last Chance. It's a little dive down south of the domes for a classic Texas red chili, and it was fantastic. Little fantastic place. I'm amazed I have not run to this place yet. So
give it a shout again. What's the name?
Slim's Last Chance is the name of it, and it's a bar. I don't know how to describe it. It's just a bar, restaurant, just fun little place. You wouldn't know it's important until you walk in and like start to see what they've got going.
All right. Well, I love cheese. I love different types of cheeses. Gouda and Munster are probably two of my favorites. I love Italian food, lasagna. I'm probably pretty simple. I'm a lasagna lover. And I'm just going to bring Dominick in. Dom, welcome to the show. First of all, I got to ask you, you're an Italian gourmet chef, but if you had the chance to eat not one of yours, but somebody else served you. What are you going to eat? What's your Italian go-to meal? I also want to know what kind of wine you're going to have with that. And then after you tell us that, tell us how you got into the business. I mean, we talked a little bit about your background, but tell us about your go-to Italian and tell us what you're doing down in LA.
Wow. Well, thanks, guys. Thank you very much for having me. So, I mean, that's like a really hard question to answer in terms of go-to Italian, right? You grow up in an Italian family, you kind of eat a lot of Italian food. I would say, though, like no matter what, my mom and dad are definitely cooking it, and it's probably some kind of a pasta dish. Just going back to childhood, like Sunday dinners, it was always, traditional pasta with meatballs. And in terms of wine, I would definitely wash that back with a nice Italian red, Barbera, maybe Barbaresco, something like that. But it's hard to beat, my parents' cooking.
Oh, very cool. Well, so tell us a little bit about the shop. So you are with the cheese store of Beverly Hills, fairly influential in the world of cheese. Walk us through your new location and just a little bit of history here.
Yeah, so the cheese store has been around since 1967. I have been working at the store for about 25 years, and last March, I bought the store from the second owner. And the second owner is Norbert Wapnig. And Norbert actually hired me at the store over 25 years ago. He was the second owner. He started working at the store in 1975. And then he bought it in 77. And he's been the second owner for, over 44 years now. So technically, I'm the third owner to take over. And the store has been in the same location since 1967. And recently, as of about 8 weeks ago today, we moved from our old location on Beverly Drive right to our new flagship location on Santa Monica Boulevard, still in the heart of Beverly Hills. And now with this new location, we're offering prepared foods. So we're expanding our menu to offer salads and sandwiches and things like that. And then we're also introducing a spirit concept, which in the previous location, we only sold beer and wine, but now we're doing spirits. So think about all those great things to accompany all these amazing prepared foods. And of course, an incredible array, a massive variety of different cheeses and cured meats and things like that.
It's really cool. I love the story of like owner to owner. So I'm just curious, just a follow-up. Have you kind of picked out any guesses as to what kids just starting in one of the back rooms now that might be buying this from you in 25 years and 2050?
Yeah, honestly, it definitely crosses my mind. The way I kind of view it though, it's like the whole parent company wouldn't be for sale, but I feel like there's a lot of other opportunities and spin-offs that could probably or will actually come about just in the new different business channels that we're sort of diving into.
All right, so you got my attention when you started talking about spirits, and because I love wine. I'm a big red wine lover, but I also love spirits. So here's my question: I walk into your new place on Santa Monica Boulevard, and you've got cheeses and you've got some spirit. What are some of the, for lack of a better way to say it again, go-to spirits that pair up with the cheeses and with some of the other great dishes that you have there? For some reason, I can't get a bourbon working with that, but I bet maybe you can. What are some of the spirits that are people are liking?
That's a great question, because when people think of cheese, they automatically think of like a wine and cheese pairing. Or people think of wine, they think of having cheese. But, I've done over the course of my career, I've done so many different pairings with spirits, and that's not what people normally gravitate towards initially. But there's so many amazing cheeses that pair well with so many spirits. And right now, I can tell you, at least in California, specifically in Beverly Hills, there's this whole, everyone's loving tequila, everyone's loving the whiskeys. Another thing too that we're doing is spritzers, right? Like Aperol spritzers. A lot of our clientele travels to Europe, and every restaurant around town is serving an Aperol spritz. But so, for example, we're not going and selling Aperol, right? You can buy that anywhere. But what we're selling is something called Rosenbitters. Rosenbitters is this handcrafted, artisanally made, small batch version of Aperol. It's a bitter, right? And that's something that you won't find everywhere else, right? We're selling like Dalmore whiskey. We're doing tequilas in these small batch, formats And what we're doing now is we're taking, so for example, you said bourbon. Yeah, like we can definitely sell you Basil Hayden and things like that. But we're going even smaller handcrafted stuff that, you kind of have to know somebody to get to. And Eric Kelly's our beverage manager, and he's doing an incredible job helping us source these very small batch production, spirits. And I think, and we do the same thing with wines, right? So when you say bourbon, I'm thinking like, oh, really? You said you like Gouda. I think a nice aged Gouda would go incredible with a bourbon. And also too, we talk about prepared foods. Well, why don't we pair that with maybe our soon to be had cheesesteak sandwich, because our cheesesteak, I mean, obviously cheesesteak is amazing by itself, but you throw in a little bit of a nice piece of steak with a little piece of with a 5-year aged Gouda, and then you walk that back with a little bourbon or scotch. I mean, that's the meal. It's incredible. It's simple, right? I think that's what it's all about.
But Craig, before you ask your question, I'm just going to say, I know what I'm doing tonight. I got a game plan for tonight. Thanks, Tom.
I mean, I never thought about that, but you brought up tequila. So what's a good matching cheese with tequila?
Oh man. So, I mean, if we're talking Blanco, I'd probably do something real simple, mild, buttery and creamy, like this incredible Robiola we have from Piemonte, Italy. If you want to do something like an Añejo, I'd probably dabble in a sheep's milk Gouda that we have that's not as aged as something like a really aged 5-year Gouda. But if you want Añejo or Extra Añejo or Reposado, I think probably with the Añejos or the Extra Añejo, I'd probably do something along the lines of something dry and salty. So I think your 5-year Gouda would work really well with it. So, I mean, there's a variety. And also too, I mean, the cured meats, to have some of these prosciuttos and salamis with it, it really makes a great pairing. And I love actually walking our customers through it. I love the fact that it's not something you normally would think about, but as soon as you have it, you're like, wow, this really works well.
So I know there are people who are listening or watching who you've gotten their attention, just like you got Craig in mind. Mm-hmm. You're in Beverly Hills. You're on Santa Monica Boulevard. We're up here in the Seattle area talking. I checked out Dominico's Foods. I looked at your website as well. You're not just for people who happen to be strolling down Santa Monica Boulevard and walking in the door. You have something for everybody, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the beauty about. So Domenico's Foods is our Italian import company and manufacturing company. So I started that business while working at the cheese store as an employee about 20 years ago, maybe 22 years ago. And what Domenico's is we make a lot of fresh pasta. We wholesale to restaurants and hotels. And we also have this incredible, imported food line. So, what used to just be food imported from Italy, we're now bringing it from all over Europe and all over the world for that matter. So the way we were kind of speaking about handcrafting and finding these amazing producers for the spirits, it's exactly what we do in our imported line. So we're meeting producers, we're finding all these incredible, handmade producers, kind of making the way we make our own products. And we're taking that and we're actually bringing that to not only just our incredible, chefs and world-renowned chefs and things like that, but we're actually bring it to our customers. Our customers have that level of access that they may not have otherwise have had, if it wasn't for us bringing things in like that. And we are kind of in the point now where, you talk about, White Cow Parmesan Reggiano. This is incredibly rare. No one really knows about it. No one's using it. Our customers never even have known about it if we weren't selling it to all our chefs and finding these small producers. So I'm really proud to put those producers and those products on the map and really introduce it to our chefs as well as our customers that come in the store.
Wow, that sounds like a fantastic world you've created for yourself. Do you, it makes me wonder, do you have any particularly fond memories of a particular trip that you took looking for that one special thing you brought in or something you discovered along the way?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really, really lucky because and I say we, because I bring our chef Ben Cito with us to Italy with me. He and we go to Italy usually 1 to 2 times a year. And, every trip is memorable, right? And every trip has something special. And I'll just reflect back the trip that we took in this past March. And, we went and basically found, we really sourced small products. And sometimes it's hard because, there's a language barrier. There's all these things that come into play with food safety and all that. And we really make it a point to do all of our due diligence and meet all of these producers and actually help them get established. Because when they tell me they've never sold to America before, like my eyes just kind of light up. Like to me, that's like, wow, how do we get these guys going with an amazing product? So we found this incredible small batch cheese producer. And they make this burrata, and burrata, if you don't know, is like it's basically fresh mozzarella cream in the, it's a mozzarella with cream in the middle, right? So it's outside's like a little bit hard, inside is extremely creamy. And everybody, I've seen it now in menus all around the United States, but this one producer is so special. The guy's like super small, and I'm like really proud to bring in, that kind of product, as well as just like fresh ricotta. And these are products that we're selling to all these chefs in Los Angeles and beyond, like even Vegas and up north in San Francisco. And these are products that chefs use often. And to bring in something that is just so high quality gets me really, really excited.
Well, what's interesting is we're about to head into break. We have in Paulsbo, this small city outside of Seattle I live, we have a place, one of my favorite, called Burrata Bistro. And now I know what burrata means. I had no idea. I had no idea before. Now I know. So that changed. Hey, listen, Dominick, we're going to take a short break to hear from today's spotlight sponsor. And when we come back with our guest, Dominick DiBartolomeo, for a hot or not section of the show, we're going to find out what Dom's take on gluten-free pasta is. Don't walk away. We'll be right back with more of the Shrimp Tank. EO Accelerator is a coaching program for Seattle area business owners who want to grow their existing small businesses beyond $1 million in annual revenue. As a small business owner, you face new challenges every day, whether it's deciding how you're going to fill a rush of new orders, puzzling out where to find new customers, or sweating about making payroll. You find yourself wishing you had an instruction manual for your business? At EO Accelerator, our mission is to empower entrepreneurs with the tools, accountability, and community to aggressively grow and master their business. This is more than theory. This is entrepreneurs helping entrepreneurs. With top Seattle business leaders who have been where you are, volunteering as coaches and mentors in the Accelerator program. Because the hustle is only going to get you so far. The next level of success is a team sport. Want to hit $1 million in revenue? Well, then join the club.
All right. Thank you, Dan, and welcome back to the Shrimp Tank, where we're interviewing the best and the brightest CEOs and thought leaders in the Puget Sound area and beyond. I'm Craig Swanson, and our guest today is Dominick of the Cheese Store, Beverly Hills, and our next segment is Hot or Not.
So we're going to take you right into the kitchen, Dom. We're going to we're going to put you both in the oven and the freezer, hot or not. We're going to pepper you with questions about business, about life, about cheese, about pasta, about a whole bunch of cool things. I guess cool, like there you go. Cool and hot things. You're going to tell us whether the concept, the topic is hot or not, and then why or why not. Look, Dominick, I'm gluten-free. I've got a gluten intolerance. My wife's gluten-free. Know a lot of people who are, and that's made a change in how we eat a lot of pasta. So hot or not, in the business that you're in, obviously, hot or not, gluten-free pasta.
Yeah, I think it's hot. I think we're coming across a lot more, especially restaurants that we're selling to, like vegan, gluten-free. I personally think that there's some great imported dry pastas from Italy that are gluten-free. We bring in one brand, Veronini, and I love it. It's hard to find good ones. I haven't really tasted something fresh that I like, but that doesn't mean anything because, pasta is also texture. But I definitely think it's hot, and I think it's going to continue to get hot. And I think that, like in anything in business, you got to be able to pivot. And that's certainly an area that we pivoted into.
Right. You were talking about wine pairings earlier, so I've got a hot or not cheese and honey pairing.
Love it. Definitely hot. Always will be. Always has, in my opinion. Anytime you can do a contrasting flavor, right? When you get a salty cheese, anytime you can do something contrasting like sweet, I think it goes great. And there's a wide variety of cheeses that are salty. And honestly, put honey on a blue cheese, you may actually turn out liking blue cheese if you haven't.
Yeah, I'm going to probably ask you a very easy one on this because this is I missed this as one of my favorite cheeses, but I just got to ask you, hot or not goat cheese?
Goat cheese is hot, always will be, in my opinion. Some of the best goat's milk cheeses come from France. And actually, what a lot of people don't realize is cheese is actually seasonal. And when you talk about
cheese is actually what? I'm sorry.
It's seasonal.
Ah.
It's seasonal. right? So like, yes, goat's milk cheese is available year round, right? But what the animals are grazing on is not always available. So typically in the springtime is when you really get that, especially from France. Like I think the French do a lot of things amazing. I think their goat's milk cheeses, they do incredibly well. And a lot of what the animals are grazing on during the springtime of year, think about what's coming into bloom and stuff, you know, all that flavor, all those textures, they all actually come in through the flavor of the milk. So you will taste the difference in some of these goat's milk cheeses as you advance in the seasons. And I think goat's milk is a great cheese. I don't like it really, it's like really barnyardy, like the goat's like kind of right next to me, but I do enjoy goat's milk cheese. And especially this time of year, goat's milk cheese, if you're drinking rosé and you're having wine, something light and crisp, it's the perfect time of year for it.
Wow. All right. So I've got one. I was looking through a lot of your reviews, and people talk about just the aroma of just coming just even near your shop and then slowly coming in. So hot or not, that overpowering aroma of the cheese shop.
Hot, and I hope it keeps getting hotter. That was one of the biggest things I stressed about opening a new location. How do you bring that scent that's been there for over 50 years to the new spot? And the answer is to load it up with a lot of incredible cheeses and stock it with a lot more than what the old location had. So I'm into it. I think it makes a statement, and I think it gets, if you're a true cheesy, person, I think you're going to love it.
So you mentioned this, I think, in the first segment. I heard you say charcuterie board, and I've been introduced to that. It was a few years ago by my youngest daughter, and we did it for Christmas Eve because we wanted to do something different. And now I'm hooked on it. Hot or not, charcuterie boards, and I'm guessing it's hot, but tell me a little bit about your take on a charcuterie board and what some of your favorite items are, especially from your business.
Oh man, I think they're white hot. I love it. I'm really excited about it. What I love though, it's something that we've been doing since before I owned the cheese store, since before Norbert owned the cheese store. Like these charcuterie boards are nothing new for us. And I love the fact of seeing how there's like this new sort of awakening of and simplicity of entertaining and buying a charcuterie board. And one of the things I'm really excited about right now is we're taking that to a whole new D2C level where we're building out these incredible charcuterie boards that we're going to be launching exclusively online, shipping nationwide, right? We do a ton of them here at the store and local deliveries and things like that. And we do a moderate amount of shipping, but now like we've unlocked an incredible opportunity with shipping rates and stuff. So we're going to be offering our charcuterie boards nationwide. And by the way, like this is not just your everyday smoked Gouda creamy brie kind of stuff. We're going deep in our selection, and we're really bringing in cheeses, first of all, that we import exclusively on our own that you won't find anywhere else, including cured meats. But we're also, taking that pairing to another level where we're going to be having charcuterie boards that are going to pair with your favorite spirit. You're going to pair with your favorite wine. They're going to, be a compliment to your meal. They're even going to be your meal. So I'm really excited to launch that. And I think that you couldn't pick a better time right now to be into charcuterie boards. And I'm so grateful that the pendulum is swinging back in that direction. Because like I said, it's something we've been doing for so long that is really, really popular right now.
That's really great. I was actually thinking, you'd mentioned earlier about cheesesteak in your prepared foods in there. And it made me wonder, do you have your own take on like upscaled versions of kind of like low end classics? Like, do you have your own take on macaroni and cheese? Do you have your own take? Like so just tell me what you've done that you've kind of taken your own spin on it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of one of those things where we all have the comfort food we grew up with. I didn't grow up with truffles. I didn't grow up with caviar. I didn't grow up with any of those things, right? Like, but the fact now, like, when my mom is going to make us, and they live in New York, so when they come out and visit, I have a 14-year-old daughter. My wife and I live not far from the store. I think like, when you have those comfort foods that you remember as a kid, and all of a sudden now you have this level of access to these ingredients where, wow, like I could actually make an incredible, I could use a prime ribeye and I can slow roast it in our beautiful, rationale oven. And I can slice this thing so fine and make it so tender. And I can put this incredible cheese on and make an amazing throwback to a childhood classic. Yeah, like a cheesesteak, right? Or like, my mom always made tortellini. Like we never used Parmesan Reggiano. We used regular Parmesan. And now, the level of access to the ingredients, like we can up this another notch. But the key is to keep it simple. and that's kind of what we crafted our salad and sandwich menu around. Like we took simple items, but just really high quality and just made it very accessible using the best ingredients available. So I think that that's the key. And I think, like, the mac and cheese is fondue. You can make your own fondue. Like, and we have different kinds of blends here at the store. Yes, we're doing the cheesesteak sandwich, launching soon. But yeah, I mean, all those classics, I enjoy them, and I enjoy using, the ingredients that we now, have access, accessible to our fingertips.
But so Dom, I'm a foodie. I just am. I love to eat. I love to cook. I love to experiment. This has been such a fun show. I got to ask you, you have a great energy. You have great energy in your speech and how you talk and how you explain and how you tell stories. And it made me think of a Food Network. Is part of your business plan, part of your business model, doing, and maybe I've missed it because I got to find out, doing more on YouTube, doing more maybe on a website where you are having these conversations where somebody says, hey, I got a 12-year-old redbreast Irish whiskey, which, by the way, I do. And this is a two-part question. I got a 12-year-old redbreast Irish whiskey I was given as a gift, and I want to pair some cheese. What do I do? And then you go on the video and tell people, number one, I need to know what cheese I need for it. And then number two is video and teaching and all of that part of your business model.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because I think I'm going to answer the second part of the question and then first, and then I'll answer the first second. So I think, first of all, yes, like absolutely. We have a podcast in the works. We also have a TV show in the works right now. Look, I mean, it's great when I think you guys know too, right? I don't come into work. Like, I love what I do. And the same enthusiasm when a customer walks in the store, you're greeted with a friendly face. Like, we all love what we do, or we wouldn't be here. And the thing about food, I think that is the most incredible part of this journey, is that it relates to everybody, right? You have a whiskey, you're like excited to pair cheeses with it. We're talking about childhood favorite foods. Like, everybody can relate to food in one fashion or another. And with our level of access to those ingredients, which I mentioned, with our level of access to chefs and to customers as well, like, I feel like part of my duty, part of my stewardness of bringing this message of the cheese store and Domenico's Foods is to really be that liaison between the ingredient and the customer, and also to put us in a position where, like, we have something for everybody, because everybody can relate to what it is we're doing. So yes, we have the podcast. Yes, we have the YouTube channels. And, I mean, you guys know this better than I do. Yeah, I wish I would have started this 20 years ago, but like, I'm happy that I'm starting it now. But it takes a lot, right? It takes a whole army. So it's a lot, and we always want to do it the right way. And so, yes, these are things we're certainly working on. And now, to answer the first part of your question, I am very excited to bring in and show you some of the cheeses that we have to pair with your whiskey. Having the experience of doing this a few times now over a lot of years, like, I love pairing whiskeys and bourbons with cheese. And I love taking it to that next level, because you're going to find nuances of, familiar spirits that you've had before, but you're going to taste them differently when they're paired in unique ways.
Wow, that's great. I just was curious, in terms of, like, you're talking about bringing stories back from everything else. Is there a country that you have that's not represented in your story yet as deeply as you want to be, or is there an area that you are really looking forward to surfacing that is new? Yeah,
so I don't know if I would call it new, but, like, it's really hard. I mean, my name is Dominick DiBartolomeo. Mm-hmm. It's very hard not to do things Italian, because that's all I know, right? Yep. So now, like, being exposed to all these incredible new areas of opportunity, not just from, like, a business perspective, but just like a curiosity perspective, right? Like, having all these incredible French cheeses and Spanish cheeses, Swiss cheeses. One thing I'm going really deep on right now is, like, tin fish. So in one of the areas, I've never been to San Sebastian. I've never been to the Basque area. I'm like, that is certainly a region that a lot of, yes, of course, like, big 3 Michelin star chefs know about and stuff, but, like, there's so much quality product and food coming out of that area. that like I really want to go deep there. I want to learn more about it. I'm learning more about it. Like I want to bring in more tinned fish from there, more cheeses from there. I want to learn more of the culture, the cuisine. Like to me, that is some of the most like it's the hottest space. I mean, some people are like, yeah, been there, done that, but like I think that there's still more to explore, and I'm really excited about diving deep there and really learning more about the Basque region.
Well, Dom, we're going to have to dive deep into another commercial to pay the bills. We're going to take a short break to hear from our sponsors. And when we come back with our guest, Dominick DiBartolomeo, for our Plead the Fifth section of the show, we're going to ask Dom about celebrity sightings. Don't walk away. We'll be right back with more of the Shrimp Tank. And Plead the Fifth is brought to you by our wonderful corporate sponsors, Ideal Life 360, Cornerstone Financial, First Underwriters Insurance, BC Fitness Studio, Port Ludlow Resort, and Upstart Group. Please visit our website at www.shrimptankpodcast.com/Seattle to learn more about these terrific companies. Now back to the show.
All right. And welcome back to the Shrimp Tank, where we're interviewing the best and brightest from around the Puget Sound region and beyond. I'm Craig Swanson, and our guest today is Dominick of the Cheese Store in Beverly Hills. And our next segment is Plead the Fifth.
We're turning up the heat. We're going to start throwing some curveballs here at you, Dom. This is where Craig and I will continue to pepper you with questions, but we might start having a little bit more fun and seeing if you're willing to answer all of them. If there's one that you're not, you can plead the fifth, but beware, you can only plead the fifth once. And at the end, you win absolutely nothing, but we hope you have some fun with us. Okay, you're in Santa Monica Boulevard. You're in Beverly Hills. You knew that we up here in Seattle just had to ask the question, is there, a celebrity sighting that would get us excited? Somebody maybe in the last couple of weeks who's just strolled in and you said, oh my gosh, who would that be?
I mean, yeah, let's call it yesterday. Jamie Lee Curtis was here yesterday.
Okay, so I might be Craig. I think I'm going to be jumping on a plane down. I'm going to go right down. I'm going to fly right over, hit down, go get some cheese, be Jamie Lee Curtis, and then come back. I think that's what's going to be on tap. Tell us more about that. Jamie Lee was in.
She popped in. She needed something really quick. Here's the thing. You're in Beverly Hills, right? So you're not these sort of occurrences, and she's a customer anyways, like these sort of occurrences happen a lot. The biggest thing for me is like half the time I don't recognize these people, right? Like my wife is like, oh my God, that's so-and-so. Like I'm just looking at it as, a cheese store customer coming in and that's it. But like, it's funny. I mean, you do get a lot of, oh, Melissa McCarthy was here Thursday. That was really cool. I recognized her right away. But yeah, I mean, like you see these people, it is what it is. It's part of being in Beverly Hills. Yeah. And that's the beauty about it. It really is.
You're just their local shop?
A local shop. Absolutely.
Yep. All right. So I've got a question. What is the most expensive cheese you've ever sold?
So currently right now, the most expensive cheese we've ever sold is a 20-year cheddar out of Wisconsin. It is by Tony Hook, and it is aged for 20 years. And currently right now, I think it's about $485 a pound.
Wow.
Not the most expensive item in the store.
Right. By
far, but the most expensive cheese for sure.
I guess what kind of blows my mind on that is being aged for 20 years. That just, I think about spirits, and you get 12 and 14 years. That's a pretty big deal. And here's a cheese, you could get some old spirits and some old cheese and be eaten, a couple generations back. I am going to plead the fifth just for a second, because I found this so fascinating. When we first got connected, we were trying to find dates, and it was last summer, and I'd offered a date in June, but you mentioned, hey, we're going to be at the United States Open. It's at the Los Angeles Country Club. And so I thought that was really cool. And we talked a little bit before we started the podcast. Talk about your experience at the U.S. Open. How cool was that? Did you get to watch any golf? And it sounds like you may be going back east next year for next year's version.
Oh man, it was an unbelievable experience being at the U.S. Open. And plus, Los Angeles Country Club, if you ever had an opportunity to golf there, it is spectacular. I've golfed there several times. I'm very lucky to have friends that are members. but yeah, like it is a beautiful country club in general. And then to be able to be put like our whole purpose to be there was it was a surprise and delight sort of feature. So we would bring in little bites of things that would pair. So for example, we brought in that white cow Parmesan. It was 36 months and we aged it with the 50-year balsamic. So we were doing that as well as having like this beautiful grazing table of different cheeses and cured meats and things like that. And, you know, the first day I was like, wow, like this is really cool. Like we're literally where the players are coming and going. You're walking right through the clubhouse to get to the first tee box. And we are with the players' families. Like the players are coming off. Like those who had a bad round were having a glass of wine with us and hanging out. Tommy Fleetwood came over and I asked him, I was like, you know, would you like a glass of wine? He's like, yeah. And I stopped halfway and he's like, no, I'll take a full one. I had a bad day out there. And, you know, just being involved in that and just seeing, you know, not only are some of those, you know, some of the players are actually customers of ours, but, and their family members, and seeing some of the members of the course. And it was just such a great, you know, opportunity, not only for, you know, the Cheese Store of Beverly Hills, but I mean, for also Los Angeles. We're right up the block from LACC. So to be able to interact with the members and the players was just, you know, my daughter came one day and Tony Finau had no problem taking a picture with her. I was like, it was just really, really cool. I mean, I got to see a lot of behind the scene things, and we even got to do the little like sort of dinner for, it was a special bite for Wyndham after he won. So to see him be behind the scenes and to wait around and to just hear his story and to see, you know, him coming off with the 18th flag and just, you know, winning it was like a once in a lifetime event. I mean, now that we'll be at Pinehurst next year, which I'm excited about, like, but it was really, really, really cool to be a part of that. It was something special I'll never forget.
You know, I'm actually trying to think of a follow-up for that, but that's amazing. I mean, I'm going to go to my original question, which was, you know, is there a popular cheese that you personally secretly can't stand?
Ooh.
So, you know, like there are, wow. You know, there are certain cheeses. Yeah, like, okay. So for example, like when somebody comes in and they want something like a smoked Gouda. Now, it's not that I can't stand it, but like you can buy that cheese anywhere. You're coming into the cheese store of Beverly Hills. My job is to introduce you to something that maybe fills those flavor profiles, but isn't necessarily that exact cheese, right? So I don't like super smoked cheeses. I like, don't put like cranberry jam on, like try the cheese for what it is and then grab a pairing of something that you like. And I think, you know, for me, I think that if you're coming in and you've never been in a cheese store before, if you've never been to our cheese store, and my first question is, you know, tell me some of the things you like, because I'm going to find things along those flavor profiles, but I want it to be different and I want it to be something that you can't get anywhere. And for the record, yes, we do sell smoked Gouda because people enjoy it, but I want to show you and introduce you to something that maybe you haven't. And I think that's part of our mission as well.
And it's a little like what you're saying, keep it simple and keep it quality.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely right. And there's nothing wrong with smoked Gouda. There's nothing wrong with it. We sell it, but I want to give you something you never had before.
So I'm going to ask you a question. I think could possibly get a plead the fifth. I don't know, but I'm just going to ask because I just popped in my head. You mentioned your mom and dad. You mentioned they're New Yorkers. You mentioned they come out and visit you, that they're both fine cooks. But I'm going to ask you this. You got to pick one. They fly out to LA and one is going to make you dinner for your family, for you and your wife and your kids. And you can only pick one. And it's, I don't want to say who's the best, but which one are you choosing, mom or dad, to cook?
So my whole goal was to not plead the fifth, and now you just made me plead the fifth.
I thought that there was a chance that I could get there. So,
but you know what's funny though, because I'm going to tell you know what's so beautiful. So my parents are from Italy, but what the beauty about it is you know, like for example, my mom's famous eggplant parmesan, right? I call my mom famous, but it's famous because my dad cuts the garlic so thin, and he knows how to cut the eggplant. So like it's like a hand in hand kind of thing. But I'll plead the fifth, and I'll plead it with the smile.
All right.
Cool. Has there ever been a behind the scenes mishap with cheese shipments that or storage that had some funny stories behind it?
Which day?
Daily.
It happens all the time. It happens all the time. I mean, we're getting fresh shipments from overseas constantly. There's always something that goes wrong. There's always, it's part of the gig. In the beginning, yeah, I mean, you learn from the mistake, but things happen. A few weeks ago, our entire pallet fell off the back of the truck and smashed. Like, these are things that happen. There's nothing you can do about it, and you learn to roll with the punches.
Cool. All right, Dominick, thank you so much for being a guest on the Shrimp Tank with us today. This has been great. This happened right before lunch, which is perfect timing. For our guests that want to get in touch or learn more about the shop, maybe get on that list for future deliveries, how can they get more information?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Well, you can obviously go to our website. It's cheesestorebh.com, or you can give us a call at 1-800-547-1515. And and you can drop us an email at info@cheesestorebh.com. BH is for Beverly Hills. And we can certainly answer your question within 24 hours.
Fantastic. All right. And for all of you watching, check out the replays at shrimptankpodcast.com/Seattle and wherever you get your podcasts, iHeartRadio, Apple, I Like Overcast. Please follow us on your app of choice, and follow us on our social media pages, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.
Well, Dominick, first of all, thank you very much for being on the show. Had a great time, and I'm serious. You may catch me on a straight flight to LA and go visit and then come back up. It would be wonderful to catch that great aroma and to meet you in person. So hopefully we'll have a chance to do that. Thanks again for being on the show, Craig. As always, I think the next time I see you will be deeper into fall, and the leaves might actually be falling. I'll see you next month. Thanks again, as always. Our next show, everyone, will be on Wednesday, September 13th. As Craig mentioned, we live stream on our Facebook page. Our guest is the infamous TBA. We had a late cancellation, so I'm gonna find somebody. We'll bring somebody in. Don't worry. Linda Popke will be here as my co-host. In the meantime, I hope you're all hungry too, because this was a great show for that. In the meantime, be safe, be well, and be prosperous. Because until next week, the shrimp is back in the tank. So long.
I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond, and the shrimp